Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to exorcise the subscribe button, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, following the strongest sorcerer in history, he's seen riding his dragon summon, saving his students and the village from hordes of monsters. But one night, he was betrayed by the higher-ups. Having sent one of his own students after him, he had no choice but to yield to his precious student. Realizing his weaknesses, he vows to be more cunning in his next life. In a different world where humans and demons exist with magical abilities, we see two brothers gather around the youngest child, as their father attempts to determine the youngest's magical capabilities. In the home of Lamproges, a clan of mages, our protagonist, Saikyou Lamproge the third son, is deemed to have no magical capabilities, as his mother didn't either, but he has otherworldly spiritual affinities. Testing out his new body, Saikyou begins to mimic creating shikigami. Using leaves as paper substitute, Saikyou is able to convert leaves to mice. As the middle child Glai spots Saikyou all alone, Glai attempts to educate Saikyou on how he should be addressed, resorting to physical violence. Before Glai can attack, Saikyou commands crows to swarm Glai, alerting Roft, who shoos away the birds. Noticing something suspicious, the older brother takes Glai to be patched up. Now 7 years old, Saikyou accepts that he will not be pampered like his other brothers, but has learned a lot about the world. Having slaved away all day, Saikyou had managed to create paper, which will act as his talismans moving forward. Checking his closet, Saikyou realizes something is missing, only to have a servant, Yifa, knock on the door. Having found Saikyou's lost jacket, Saikyou deduces that Glai right on cue. Glai appears, demanding Yifa get back to work, mocking Saikyou for having free time as he doesn't have to study any magic theory, unlike Glai, who will be attending the Imperial Lodonia Magic Academy. Knowing Saikyou has no chance of entering, Glai states that Saikyou will be lucky to even join the army. Cut off, their father utters that he'll assist with Glai's training. As Roft, Glai and father head to train, Saikyou asks if he can watch. Stepping up, Roft begins to chant a wind spell, sending a wind slash towards a rock. Next, Glai cast a fireball, landing a hit on another rock. Wanting to mock Saikyou, Glai asks Saikyou to attempt a spell, hoping to embarrass Saikyou in front of father, but Saikyou accepts, shocking Roft. Seeing this as an opportunity, Saikyou states that he had promised not to seek strength as that will only blind him, and that the strong had always taken advantage of the weak. Conjuring an image, Saikyou makes use of his spiritual energy, casting Oni Fireball, burning a bright blue, and blazingly destroying a rock. With everyone surprised, Glai attempts to brush off Saikyou's abilities, but father mentions that a special sorcerer even without mana is still able to use magic, and even make the color of the spell change. Wanting to learn magic, Saikyou is rejected, as someone with no magic had ever become great, but father still has hope, stating that he'll give Saikyou a tutor starting this year. Beginning to study magic, and monitor his siblings with his hidden talismans, Saikyou eventually reaches the age of 11. In his past life, Saikyou sealed away several powerful Ayakashi monsters, and forced them to serve him. Knowing this, he intends to bring them to this world, but first he needs to test his theory with a weak one first. Using a talisman, Saikyou opens a door, calling for Kudajitsune, but what appears is a little girl. Happy to see Saikyou, she leaps into his arms, which he finds weird as Yuki chatting. Saikyou realizes it's most likely his weak spiritual energy, but nonetheless is happy to reunite with Yuki. Wanting to serve her master, Saikyou reveals that he doesn't need anything at the moment, prompting Yuki to revert to a smaller pet, standing on Saikyou's shoulders. The next day, Yifa is seen scolded by Glai, who she had spilled water all over. Angered, he realizes he can use the opportunity to take advantage of her, but before he can demand anything further, Saikyou intervenes, prompting Glai to swing. Catching Glai's fist, Saikyou forces Glai to retreat for now, putting Yifa at ease. Outside, the two run into a baby carbuncle, who had been attacked. Wanting to help it, Saikyou asks for Yifa to turn away as Saikyou plucks the creature's hair, enchanting a talisman, and instantly healing the creature. Amazed, Yifa begins praising Saikyou, but Saikyou knows Yifa is hiding talents of her own. Attempting to play it off, Yifa realizes that Saikyou is aware of her eyes, which can see more than what Saikyou is capable of. Giving in, Yifa reveals that she promised her deceased mother to never tell, but she can see spirits, and they helped her find Seika's jacket previously. Also, for some reason, spirits tend to gather around things, but for Seika they all seem to be avoiding him. Changing topics, Seika asks if Yifa can command the spirits, which she can only remember one time, where she told the spirits to stop messing with her. Impressed, Seika realizes that something similar in his past life was possible, and he had spent time searching for someone who could control spirits in this world, which happened to be someone so close. Asking if Yifa wants to learn magic, Yifa admits she has too low of a magic pool, but Seika creates a flame to test that. Begging a wind spirit to assist, Yifa after some attempts is able to extinguish the flame, which makes Seika want to nurture. Several months pass by, as Seika continues to train with Yifa, who progressively extinguishes more and more flames. With Seika's 12th birthday arriving, once again no one seems to care, and his father is not even present. After breakfast, Glai and Raft offer to train Seika, in hopes that he'll be able to join the army, but a maid alerts them that their father had initially scared away a monster, but it seems to be heading in their direction. As the elder Nude appears, Glai runs away as Raft asks the maids and Seika to find safety, but Seika has other plans. Outside, Yifa and a junior maid is spotted by the creature, but before the creature can attack, Yifa subconsciously conjures a fire spell, buying her time to flee. Proud of Yifa, Seika steps up, luring the creature away. Leaping into the air, Seika casts a toxic spell, instantly killing and taming the creature. As everyone in the manor witnessed Seika's amazing feat, they all applaud him, which Seika states is all according to plan. Having achieved an amazing feat, even some skilled adventurers would struggle to do, all whilst Glai glared in jealousy at his brother. Wondering how Seika knew newts were weak to fire, Seika reveals to his father that he had read it in a book. Wanting to give Seika a reward, Seika reveals that he has reached the peak of his learning at home, and would like to excel further by enrolling at the Lodonia Magic Academy. Pondering for a bit, his father accepts, but he states that Seika must pass the entrance exam by himself, with no influence from his family. Agreeing, Seika asks for Yifa to accompany him, but his father denies, as Yifa supposedly has no magic capabilities. Wanting to show off Yifa's hard work, Seika hands Yifa a wand, asking for her to chant a fire. Imagining a future with Seika, Yifa nonchalantly ignites the room, casting a mid-level spell, shocking all the onlookers. Satisfied, father agrees to enroll Yifa, but Glai is clearly against any of this. Stating that a family has never sent two children to the same occupation before, Glai argues that Seika is bound to fail, but his father drops the bomb, by revealing that Glai will be joining the army. Therefore his physical talent would be best suited for the army. Refusing to accept this, Glai challenges Seika to a duel, with the winner attending the magic school. With their mother against the duel, Seika ultimately accepts, with the duel set for tomorrow. Having returned to his room, Seika continues to prepare talismans, all whilst Yuki asks if he would kill Glai. Answering no, the two are interrupted by Luft, who wishes to speak with Seika. Apologizing, Luft hands Seika a late birthday gift, a glass pen. Knowing that Seika will win tomorrow, Luft asks that he take it easy on Glai, and that Luft is proud to be Seika's older brother. Admiring the pen with Yuki, Seika realizes something is approaching, asking for Yuki to hide. Seeing Glai outside, Seika realizes Glai is too impatient to wait for tomorrow. Demanding to know when Seika had shown interest in going to school, Glai states that they should duel until one person is unable to fight, immediately casting a mid-level spell, as Seika warns Glai about the dangers of powerful magic. As the smoke clears up, Glai is shocked to see Seika. Seen enough, Seika pulls out a talisman, chanting a curse, and paralyzing Glai in place. Tugging at the human-shaped talisman, Seika is able to replicate the action on Glai, whose arm is almost ripped off. Seeing Glai defeated, Seika relinquishes the curse, putting Glai to sleep. 6 months ago, Seika is seen communicating with Bonds, one of his summons, asking for him to search around the forest for an elder newt. Having concealed Bonzi's presence, Seika was able to put on a scene to show to his father, and luckily it has all been going according to plan. As Yuki wonders why Seika is holding back so much, Seika reveals that he had learned his lesson from his previous life, vowing to live among the weak and help them. With departure day arriving, Luft comes to wish Saikyou off, noticing Yifa still exhausted from studying all night. To ease their worries, Luft mentions that the ride to the school takes several days, therefore they have extra time to study. Just like that, they had gifting Yifa a necklace. Saikyou sets Yifa's next goal, to be able to consistently control spirits, and that he benefits personally, every time Yifa grows. Not used to horse-drawn carriages, Saikyou gets sick, but when Yifa reveals the lustrous town, Saikyou forgets about the pain. Following Saikyou's father, it's revealed that Saikyou was actually the child of Gilbert, the younger brother of Glai and Luft's father. Apparently, Gilbert had become an adventurer after leaving school, but had gone missing in the demon territory, leaving Saikyou behind. Believing Saikyou to be half-demon, Glai's father had tested Saikyou for magical traits but none. Father had known that Saikyou was special, using unique techniques to mimic magic, hence this was one of the reasons why father had prepared Saikyou at school rather than in the army, in fear of what Saikyou would become. Back with Saikyou, we see Yifa and him arrive at their inn, as Yifa teases Saikyou for being unable to handle carriages. Now officially Saikyou's servant, Yifa wonders if she should spend the night with Saikyou, but Saikyou mistakes her flirting for her being hungry, prompting Yifa to leave. Now alone, Yuki appears, angry at Yifa for trying to flirt with her master. When Saikyou refuses to believe such a thing, Yuki states that Yifa is clearly in love with Saikyou, but Saikyou once again brushes it off. With the two arriving at the academy, Saikyou notes the interesting type of auras around him. An instructor begins to call students over to measure their magic affinities. Saikyou and Yifa are chosen first. Revealing his family name, other students make note of Saikyou, hoping to befriend him. But when it's time for Yifa to introduce herself, she reveals herself as Saikyou's slave. Bringing out an orb, the instructor asks to check the two's magical affinities, which Saikyou notes that in this world, fire, water, earth and wind are the basic types. As Yifa goes first, it's revealed that she has weak fire and wind affinities, but when it's Saikyou's turn, it seems he doesn't have any magic affinity, as expected. Seeing Saikyou with no magic, other students begin to hate Saikyou, believing Saikyou will use his noble ties to cheat his way into the school. Suddenly Onmyouji, a red-haired commoner, shuts everyone up, cutting to the front of the line. As she places her hand on the orb, she's revealed to have all four basic affinities, leaving everyone stunned. As Onmyouji turns to leave, Saikyou thanks her for standing up for him, but she states that although she stood up for him, she still despises Saikyou, also believing that Saikyou will use his noble ties to enroll. As Onmyouji leaves, Saikyou realizes that Onmyouji resembles the girl that was sent to betray him in his past life. Having sat their written test, Yifa is saddened that she didn't feel so good after the exams, which Saikyou attempts to cheer her up, encouraging her to do good in the practicals. In the corner are his eyes. Onmyouji passes by wielding a sword, which piques Saikyou's interest, as she also has 4 elemental affinities. Moving outside, the instructor begins the practical exam, placing 4 targets, 1 for each element, and asking the students to strike the targets with their respective elements. As most students are only capable of a single magic type, we see students only attack a single target. Being called, Yifa steps up, casting a mid-level fire spell, completely erasing the surface of the target, surprising the instructor, as the target was supposedly reinforced. Next, Yifa cast a new mid-level wind spell, poking holes in the target, surprising even Saikyou. Next up is Saikyou, who cast his blue flames on the target, shocking everyone, but his flames continue to burn indefinitely. Next up is an earth spell. Having identified the target to be made of granite, Saikyou is able to infuse the granite with his ki, giving the effect of an earth spell being cast on the target. Finally, for water, Saikyou sneaks a talisman, chanting a spell to have ice be formed around the target. Having never figured out wind, light or dark magic, Saikyou leaves it at that. That afternoon, the practical instructor speaks with a female teacher, asking if she knows the magical capabilities of Yifa and Saikyou, which the female instructor says they should have little to no magical capabilities. Additionally, she reveals that Onmyouji was far more impressive, having not only 4 elemental affinities, but also light and dark magic, making her possibly the mythic hero. With the results coming out, Yifa begs Saikyou to not leave her. Looking for his name, Saikyou is pleased to be ranked 3rd, having maxed out his written scores. But Yifa is more shocked, placing second above Saikyou, due to her astounding physical scores. Finally, Onmyouji is ranked first, which Saikyou had anticipated. Receiving a letter of invitation, Yifa wonders if she will be able to serve Saikyou, but Saikyou reassures her she should focus on being a student. Whilst walking, Saikyou notices an ominous feeling, which Yifa recognizes as the dark element, resonating from a forest. Passing some trees, the two discover a ritual circle, which seems suspicious, but they brush off as a school activity, as they head to the entrance ceremony. Munching on some food, Saikyou watches as Onmyouji gives a speech stating her reason for being here is to get stronger. Right on cue, some lesser demons break into the building, searching for something. As the demons attempt to harm a student, Saikyou attempts to step in, but Onmyouji beats him to it. Slicing at the demon, Onmyouji follows up casting a wind spell, halting the demon's movements. Asking everyone to run or fight, Saikyou begins surveying the area using his talismans, spotting a demon around the previously mentioned ritual circle. Asking Yifa to run if there is danger, Saikyou switches places with a talisman. Under the brightly lit moonlight, Saikyou begins recounting a poem, as he emerges from the darkness. Pondering on the beauty of the poem, Saikyou begins to question the demon at hand, but the demon simply wonders why a mere child is here. Summoning several weaker demons, the greater demon is impressed, when Saikyou dispatches two, sealing away one for himself. Stepping up, Gull Galios summons several blades, introducing himself as an earth and fire caster. Saikyou's attack is thwarted as Gull is able to see his talismans. Following up, Gull incinerates Saikyou's surrounding talismans, tossing his blade at Saikyou. Noticing the suspiciously slow blade, Saikyou is cut, realizing Gull had teleported his blade, attempting to kill Saikyou. Slashing his blade, Gull creates a fire slash, forcing Saikyou to jump, but Gull teleports behind Saikyou, ripping away Saikyou's arm. Impressed with Saikyou's resolve, Gull reveals that he was sent to track down the hero, and today he had found the hero Onmyouji. With the conversation coming to a close, Gull sends several projectiles at Saikyou, landing the final blow with his own hands. Wishing to have fought a little longer, Gull is shocked to hear Saikyou's voice, turning, only to realize Saikyou is unharmed. Tossing a blade at Saikyou, Gull notices his blade disappear, demanding to know what happened. When Saikyou reveals he's able to erase any object he chooses, Gull gets angered, stating he will silence Saikyou for lying about his strength. Tossing several projectiles, Gull watches as Saikyou unleashes a tsunami of water, filling the forest with water. Having used his teleportation magic, Gull appears behind Saikyou, swiping at him, but is electrocuted by Saikyou's summon. Letting his guard down, Saikyou is impaled from behind, but had used this to grab onto Gull. Asking if Gull had ever questioned the fundamentals of the world, Gull replies that he is still able to fight, as long as he can get rid of Saikyou's talismans, which Saikyou responds by revealing his endless amount of talismans. Putting an end to the battle, Saikyou brings out his most powerful summon, Ryu, a dragon who swiftly devours Gull. Suddenly, Saikyou's dragon summon begins rampaging, forcing Saikyou to return Ryu, realizing that his current body is too weak to impose mastery over the dragon. As Yuki comes out of hiding, the two head back to the dining hall. Saikyou is pleased to see nobody is hurt, including Yifa. But most importantly, Saikyou witnesses Onmyouji finish off the remaining demons, deeming to make her the strongest in the world, and having her trust him. Thanks for watching.